Welcome to the jungle, the YouTube jungle. I'm your host, Class, and on this channel we have two things in mind: to show you something that you haven't seen before, and for me to share my thoughts with you as we watch. Um, so far, I'm really excited about today's episode because I got this new mic right here. It's so dope. I got another mic around over here for the video. It's going to be exciting. I have lighting I have to get ready to build and install. It's going to be real dope. I feel like the channel is going to start improving. I got this new stand. Let's get started, shall we? Now, this one is actually interesting. It's about the first female author. It's from a channel called TED Ed. If you don't already know about it, it's a pretty dope way to educate yourself through some people's vivid imagination and very informative information.
4,300 years ago, in ancient Sumer, the most powerful person in the city of was banished to wander the vast desert. Her name was Enheduanna.
Enheduanna.
She was the high priestess of the moon god and history's first known author. By the time of her exile, she had written 42 hymns and 3.
Okay, so I just want to point this out. She was the first female author. I don't know if she was the first one who made stories, but just to know that, it was way back in the day is pretty cool.
Epic poems, and Sumer hadn't heard the last of her. Enheduanna lived 1,700 years before Sappho, 1,500 years before Homer, and about 500 years before the biblical patriarch Abraham. She was born in Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and the birthplace of the first cities and high cultures. Her father was King Sargon the Great, history's first empire builder, who conquered the independent city-states of Mesopotamia under a unified banner. Sargon was a northern Semite who spoke...
Okay, so before we continue, look how dope... Okay, so this is the reason why I like this channel, because you get to see this animated cartoon version. You know how some people have some difficulties learning certain things? Well, this channel gives you the visual art and gives you like a simplistic narrative to history. It's awesome. And there's a lot of other stuff on here, by the way.
Akkadian, and the older Sumerian cities in the south viewed him as a foreign invader. They frequently revolted to regain their independence, fracturing his new dynasty. To bridge the gap between cultures, Sargon appointed his only daughter, Enheduanna, as high priestess in the empire's most important temple.
Isn't that awesome?
Female royalty traditionally served religious roles, and she was educated to read and write in both Sumerian and Akkadian and make mathematical calculations.
Super smart woman.
The world's first writing started in Sumer as a system of accounting, allowing merchants to communicate over long distances with traders abroad. Their pictogram system of record keeping developed into a script about 300 years before Enheduanna's birth. This early writing style, called cuneiform, was written with a reed stylus pressed into soft clay to make wedge-shaped marks.
That's an interesting
But until Enheduanna, this writing mostly took the form of record-keeping and transcription, rather than original works attributable to individual writers. Enheduanna's was a city of 34,000 people with narrow streets, multi-storied brick homes, granaries, and irrigation. As high priestess, Enheduanna managed grain storage for the city, oversaw hundreds of temple workers, interpreted sacred dreams, and presided over the monthly new moon festival and rituals celebrating the equinoxes.
She resided in interpreting people's dreams. That's dope. This woman had a lot on her plate. She's running things, you know. Her dad could have been a butthole and said, nah, I'm not going to let her run things. She's a woman. But instead, he was like, no, I'm going to let her run this, and this, and that. Like, that's awesome. And she's super smart. That's what's up, ladies.
Enheduanna set about unifying the older Sumerian culture with the newer Akkadian civilization. To accomplish this, she wrote 42 religious hymns that combined both mythologies.
42.
Each Mesopotamian city was ruled by a patron deity, so her hymns were dedicated to the ruling god of each major city.
I like that.
She praised the city's temple, glorified the god's attributes, and explained the god's relationship to other deities within the pantheon.
That is pretty dope. The fact that she was like, okay, here are a whole bunch of gods. that a few people worship. I'm going to make them uniquely individual, and then I'm just going to explain to everybody how awesome they are. That's real cool. Or explain, well, not how awesome they are, but explain what they're about and what they've done. And then here, this is even cooler. Watch.
Her writing, she humanized the once aloof
Humanizes
gods.
them.
Now they suffered, fought, loved, and responded to human pleading. Enheduanna's most valuable literary contribution was the poetry she wrote to Inanna,
That's dope.
goddess of war and desire,
That's dope.
the divinely chaotic energy that gives spark to the universe. Inanna delighted in all
That is dope. That is really, really dope. Especially the poem. I really want to read that poem. I got to see that poem.
forms of sexual expression and was considered so powerful that she transcended gender boundaries, as did her earthly attendants, who could be prostitutes, eunuchs, or cross-dressers. Enheduanna placed Ina.
Who knew that cross-dressers... I'm sorry to say this. No offense to the trans community or anything, but who knew that cross-dressers exist from way, way back then? And the fact that the eunuch and the prostitutes, that's also fascinating that they've run those circles, you know?
At the top of the pantheon as the most powerful deity. Her odes to Inanna mark the first time an author writes using the pronoun I, and the first time writing is used to explore deep, private emotions.
I.
After the death of Enheduanna's father, King Sargon, a general took advantage of the power vacuum and staged a coup. As a powerful member of the ruling family, Enheduanna was a target, and the general exiled her from Ur. Her nephew, the legendary Sumerian king Nuramsin, ultimately crushed the uprising and restored his aunt as the high priestess.
That's what's up.
In total, Enheduanna served as high priestess for 40 years.
Woo!
After her death, she became a minor deity, and her poetry was copied, studied, and performed throughout the empire for over 500 years.
Imagine being a ruler for 40 years and still having your legacy live out for 500 years. That is one impressive legend.
Poems influenced the Hebrew Old Testament, the epics of Homer, and Christian hymns.
Wow.
Today, Enheduanna's legacy still exists on clay tablets that have stood the test of time.
So Enheduanna, that's the lady's name. Look her up. I'm going to look her up. I got to read this poem. I want to see what that's all about. Hopefully I can. They've translated it in English because this thing is really, really, really old. Enheduanna sounds like a fascinating woman. And if it wasn't for Ted Ed, the show, the YouTube channel, I would have never learned about her. So honestly, I recommend you guys go ahead and watch this channel. I'm gonna probably leave the original video down in the description below. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please don't be afraid to like, share, or subscribe to the channel. As always, really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.